Alright, hello everybody. My name is Joss Abaco. I'm a senior game design student over at SCAD Atlanta, and I'm here to show off some of my work inside the Unreal Engine. Let's get started. Here we have one of the first games ever made in the Unreal Engine, The Saved. This game was made in the process of about 4-ish weeks, and let's jump right in and see what it has to offer. So the premise behind this game is you wake up on a mysterious island as a lone knight, and with no firm direction, the player is given the choice to move around and explore this island. Immediately you see we have a health bar on the lower left and an enemy counter on the lower right hand portions of the screen. This character is using a blend space in its animation blueprint, so I can transition smoothly between my slow little walk animation to my full-on run animation. Pressing B does a nice little sword swing, A gives us a good jump, and it's your typical third-person character. It's worth mentioning that all the assets you're going to see in this little demo were not created by me. They were composited into this game by me, but I did not make this sand texture or this character that you're seeing before you. The character was off of Mixamo, and most of the environment assets were from the Kite demo kit provided by Unreal. But let's explore a little bit of this island. We see we have one of the local natives. Let's go say hi to him real quick. So as you can see, this AI is driven by its vision cone, and it's caught me right now, so he's going to try and give me his little local greeting. So we're just going to return the favor with a nice hello of our own. And once more, and successful. Counter has decreased by 1, enemy falls over, and I'm sure he goes on vacation to Tahiti. Alright, let's continue with our exploration and see what else this island has to offer. Ooh, looks like a little bit of a well area we're coming up on, with more enemies coming around. The enemies are using their own movement path that's driven by several target points that they follow. Each target point is laced into an array based around the area that enemy should be going in, and then they determine which target point they're currently at and move to the next one when applicable. As you can see, I took a little bit of damage in that fight, but if we look up here to Dionysus, looks like he's holding a little thing of meat in his one hand. Let's go see if we can take our dues from him. Awesome. So we got it healed and we're feeling good. We now have the choice to go this way, but I see a few enemies that way, or we can go investigate this giant church-like structure. Being that I'm new to this game, I'm not, I developed it, I'm going to check out this area and see what it has to offer. Looks like we have a giant tree of meat with some health, and it also looks like we've caught the attention of a few more guys. Let's see if we can outrun them, because I don't know, I'm feeling a little bit underpowered right now, and I'm not sure I can handle this ever-growing horde of fans. So I'm going to come up here to this statue. Oh, it kind of looks like the one we saw in the opening. And what's that, a sword? Let's see what this is. We see a new health bar, or a new UI bar has appeared in the game, and let's see if we can't try something new here. Ooh, we got a good hit on the one of them, but let's see, we have a nice big slash here. Now this attack does, it's based on our, the collision of the sword against the body, so I think I'm just getting pretty unlucky here. But we dispatch the enemies nonetheless. And you can see after I do a slash, my stamina mana bar depletes completely, and despite the fact that I'm mashing the button right now, I can't attack again. A little particle system appears to let me know when my attack is ready to be unleashed again, and we should be good to continue forth with this game. Enjoying the nice scenic views and other such entities along the way. Alright, so we've arrived at this church area, and I'm just going to quickly take out these enemies. And then let's go see what's inside. If we take our time real quick, we can see there's a little hole in this wall up ahead. Maybe we can get a view at what our interior looks like. See one enemy on the right. Not much going on the other side. Oh! Looks like I've been spotted. Let's see if we can't lose this guy in the annals of the church. I'm gonna come over here, and I see this little box has been placed for me. I'm gonna try and jump overhead. Alright, I don't think we've been followed. Let's try and sneak up on this guy here and take him out. So if I show off some of the tracking features on these AIs real quick, is right now that they're basically homing in on my position. But if I lose them within the walls of this church, they should try and find my last known position and run to there. And if they can't find me, they'll just continue their routines as per usual. You can see I also tried to do a little bit of visual storytelling here with the environment. Maybe a column flew through that stained glass window at some point. We're just going to come here and anticlimactically take out the last guy. So now that we've beaten the last enemy, the player has essentially won the game at this point. No victory screen of any sort, but hey, you know, you can dance now. And if that wasn't good enough seeing a dancing knight, I decided to leave the move feature on. So if you want, you can stroll around this nice, peaceful island, getting down with it. Another thing that I implemented was a fully functioning pause menu, which allows you to resume the game, or if you want, you can restart the level, go back to the main menu, or just quit the program entirely. We're going to restart real quick, and I just want to show off the death state real quick. So restarting takes us back to the island, and we're going to go ahead and attract as much attention as we can, as quickly as we can, so we can just see what it looks like when we die in this game. And there we go. The player's movement has been locked at this point, and we have died, and the adventure ends here. We can either accept our fate, that the adventure ends here, or we can reject it and try again. So I'm going to go ahead and accept my fate, and we can take a look at some of the other bones that go into this. Alright, so back here in the editor, we can take a quick look at our paladin character, and just kind of see his animation graph. This is the state machine that's driving him. It shows all of his potential states he can be in and the transition rules for each of these states. These were set up over in his event graph, where we tie the variables on the player BP to all of their corresponding animation BP counterparts. So if we open up the AI's behavior tree, we can see it's using a selector to drive its patrol paths, as well as its chase logic and its attacks. Now let's go ahead and move on to my next project in the engine. Alright, now on to my second project. This is our beta of the game Packaroos. It's essentially like a wacky little mixture of Diner Dash and Overcooked. Basically, you play as up to 4 kangaroo characters as they try and survive their work week. Each day of the work week kind of brings new marsupial mischief for them to, you know, magnify the mayhem, for alliteration's sake. Alright, let's take a look at it. So this is our main screen as of right now. The game is still heavily in beta. We have our 4-player, 3-player, 2-player starts. For the sake of this demo, I'm just going to be running 2-player start. I only have 1 controller anyway, so I can't really show off the multiplayer that well. So we start off with our current iteration of our menu system, which, you know, you just kind of go through and it explains how to play the game. But I'm going to do that live, so we're just going to skip past this right now. So right now we have start our game. I'm playing the Roo on the left here, and you can see full range of motion, and I even have a little bit of a dash feature here. If I want, I can sprint around the workspace, and I can even have physical interactions with the other players in this game, so I can do a little force-based push for them. Because even though the game is a cooperative experience, it's always fun to give the player some options of a little griefing, you know? Right now I've picked up our purse item. It's spawned in from this conveyor belt on the upper right hand portion of the office. And with that I can, you know, hold the item, place it, pick it up, button prompts appears when I can and can't do that, and if I want I can even chuck it across the office like that. Cool thing about that is that also has interactions with the other characters in this game. For instance, if I throw it at us, I can send other Roos flying. That was a bit of an extreme example, but as you can see, it's normally a pretty tame effect. So the premise of the game is you can go here, and you can come up to the office, and you can see that we have some orders we need to fill. Essentially, we need to take those items, come over here to this Packatron, place them down, then come over to this workstation where we're stuck in an animation right now, still in development, and we can then produce a boxed item. Basically what that does is it takes the item and puts it in a box. Remember, this is a shipping company after all, and I don't know about you, but I'd be pretty mad if my item that I ordered didn't get shipped in a box. So, rules of the game, only boxed items can be evaluated in the truck, which is here. Ooh, looks like the grate fell down, so you can't see it. So we're going to go ahead and mash to get that back up. And let's go ahead and try delivering this box. This is a developer item. It currently contains a candle in it right now. So I can go up and press B to load it in, and order was correct. So you can see that we've now scored 1 out of 5 points. And let's go ahead and get started working on this purse as well. If we drive it through the conveyor belt, we can slowly get our boxed item, and we can grab it up. And let's just kind of shoot some hoops right now. Oof. Looks like that order wasn't correct. So normally we'd have to go through the process and make a new item again, but we only have the 7-ish seconds left. And so we'll soon be evaluated by our boss, Mr. Dropbear, up there, and see if... got terminated. Alright, let's take a look at a few other aspects of the game that I couldn't really show off in this demo. So one important aspect of our game was the packing feature. It couldn't just work, as a basic, model swap. These had to be smart items. Because if you drop an item, you need to make sure you're spawning the same item that it used to contain. So I think this one had a football in it. So if I were to take this and chuck it at a wall, we should see that the football is still the item that appears. Similarly, if I take this purse and speedily put it over here, and then run the conveyor on it, we should see that that purse is still the item contained within this box. Woo, yep, definitely still a purse. So let's go in. I want to talk a little bit about that system in a second, but while I'm here, I think it's just worth noting that our timer in the lower left-hand corner there is in fact using correct zero padding. That was, just one of those things that you do to make sure your game has the right amount of polish on it. But let's take a look at the item system real quick. Alright, so here in my blueprints, basically what I did to solve the items was I created this class system. Basically everything is derived from this master item, and everything else you see is an instance of that object. So if I open this up, we can see that there's actually nothing here right now because it's basically a blank slot that has qualities for everything else to inherit. It has the socket name that the item looks for when you try and pick it up. It has an ID value, which is actually what's being evaluated against the UI. It's trying to check to see if the ID item matches the current any of the items in the current UI. If it does, then we score a point. There's a boolean to check to see whether it's been boxed or not, and then we have the logic for, so because boxed items and unboxed items use the same class, we have to check and see if this is a boxed item or not. And then if it's a boxed item, it obviously contains a mesh. So we have this item contained, detecting for a static mesh, and then let's say this class was being applied to a base item. We need to, if we want to have boxes with different labels spawn from the packer, we need to be able to have their boxed variant here. There's another boolean to check to see if it's thrown, so the appropriate logic gets fired off. There's a hit force, so that all these objects can have different, they shove the player that you throw it at the correct amount. Then there's a can impact check and a being held check that we also run on these, just to make sure that they don't accidentally, clip through our despawner in our conveyor. If they do, they would get deleted, but if they're being held, they don't. Just little things like that to help make sure that all this logic fires off appropriately. Then we'll just do a quick sweep of the player real quick. So essentially this is the range check that I have going right now, and you can see it's just an event tick that runs into a trace sphere with its own reach and radius amounts. This then runs into a boolean to check if there was a hit. Then we just cast to everything in our scene and to see which thing the player is interacting with currently. And then we actually have most of our button prompts being solved over in the button prompt logic node, which basically just has all the booleans players would encounter to display the appropriate prompts, which are again just more little nodes that set the material, set sort of it's like a faux billboard material. I just have it running a constant world rotation on that plane so that it's always facing the camera regardless of the direction the player is facing. But if we quickly navigate to the game mode, I'm going to turn on one last feature here. So this is the event rate we have going for our boss, Mr. Dropbear. He's our lovely titular character up there in the top of the screen. He's set on a random integer right now, so I'm just going to set these to 5 and 10 seconds so that he'll likely appear in this demo, and then we'll try and save. Thing we can't do though is we can't save it right now because this program is actually running in our version control software, Perforce. So I'm just going to go ahead and log into that real quick. Okay, so with Mr. Dropbear turned back on, we can go about our workday. I'm going to grab this box over here, and oh, we can see a little snot bubble just popped. Looks like our boss is standing up. Oh boy, I wonder what he'll do. So you can see he starts throwing a little bit of a tantrum because he sees his lazy workers, roaming around the office not doing what they should, and he activates the Roo's own dropping feature, causing whatever the Roos are holding to just be left from their hands, and to essentially, if they were a box, they drop and break, and the players now have to start the whole process over again. So now we're going to go ahead and move on to my last Unreal project. So to close out, I want to talk about my last Unreal project. This was an environment concept I did for an unreleased title of mine called So. It's essentially your typical medieval fantasy with a few twists. But this was just an environment concept I did where you can see you have things like our character's sword, another character has some arrows here by this stump, and we have some books. Now all this was modeled and created by me. The textures were done in Substance Painter, the models in Maya, and the particle system was just using the Cascade system in Unreal, along with the water and waterfall you see going there in the background. So this whole project became an animated video that I made using Unreal Sequencer, and you can check it up here on my channel. It's called Unreal Scene at Night. Well, that's all I have to show you for today. Thank you so much for taking the time to look at my projects, and I hope to hear back from you guys soon. I would really like to meet you. Bye!